And on your left side, we also do have shipping containers next to the building. On your left side, where these shipping containers are meant to accommodate only families, where each container is split into half for two families to share in one container.
Wow.
So these families that live in these conditions, they are waiting for better houses, whereby there's a housing development project which is run by the government, where the government is intending to build houses to give to those who live in the poor conditions. So they're still on a waiting process to get a better houses. Also on the left side, you can see some sheep heads where there are women who are unemployed. So in order for themselves to create jobs for them is to make sheep heads, to prepare sheep heads and cook them for selling. And then it's a cheaper meat and it's affordable to most of people, from the lower class people up until to the upper class people within the township itself. So everyone can afford, and in the whole of sheep head, I think 5 people can fit in one, can eat enough.
Sheep head. What is sheep head?
Sheep head 用頭啊！
哦，即係食頭，
乾冰。
哦，食個頭啫係咪？
我哋食嘅有硬。
即係嗰啲冇人愛佢哋攞嚟食啊。哦，咁好。
每個人都食都會用佢。
一個用頭食。
And also on your right side, the buildings that you see, the apartments, they used to be old hostels that were meant for men only. But up until now, they are developed and renovated as well. And renovated as well to become apartments for families. Because we're no longer in need of hostels, because it's no longer for single men only now. It's for families to live in the township. So we need more apartments, more better living conditions, so that people can live in the better. So all these apartments, they used to be, if you look at your right, with a building with a lot of satellite dishes, that is an old hostel that was meant for men, but now it has to be renovated as well to become apartments. So we're still on a waiting process.
Very nice.
And hence I mentioned to you that within the township we do have houses that we consider them as the upper class area of the township, where you find people with good professions like teachers, doctors, lawyers, business people, people that can be able to live in the town, in the city, the suburbs, but they prefer to live within the township. It is because of the understanding of the social environment of a township life, as well as which is the culture that they share among each other as a Xhosa tribe. So we all are Xhosa speaking around in this township. So we're the same Xhosa tribe, we share one culture. So the houses that we just passed, we're gonna go straight. The houses just we passed now, this is all called upper class houses. It's where families, they bought these houses from a bank, so they own these houses. They are not renting them actually from the government, and they were not given by the government. But there are houses that were given by the house, yes. There are houses that were given by the government, such as the buildings that, like the ones that we are just approaching here now. All these with the solar panel are built by the government since 2000, and I think since 2007. It's where the process of building these houses here in order to give to those who live in lower class conditions. So all these apartments that you see here are new, starting from 2007 upwards. Up until now the process is still taking place. So they're building more of these in order to give people a better shelters to live in. So all these families, they used to live in the shacks. And you don't need to pay any rent. The only thing that you pay for, you buy electricity on your own from your pocket. You don't need to pay it monthly. And the only thing that you can pay, but you don't need to pay it monthly, it's only water and sanitation. So that's what you pay as a renting process to the municipality.
cleaner than 我。
比較邋遢。
我知道 considerably 乾淨咗咯，compare 到我哋。Talking about this normal class 咯。
And all here also on the other side, where before this has been used to build these apartments. The first time used to be shacks, which is the informal houses, where they had a problem of fire. People lose their houses and their belongings through the fire. So it's when they started to use these lands as a land of to build more better apartments for families to live in the better conditions. Okay, we back again to the we back again to the upper class area of the township. To your left, you're gonna turn left and it's a left and short right.
That's going to make this bus is very long, right?
It's very long there. Thinking so.
You want that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have to move back. Okay, if you can look in front of us, all these houses here where they use recycled material to build. So we consider these as a lower class houses where they build by themselves by collecting recycled material to build the houses. So all these families that lives in these conditions that you see next to us, the informal ones, they are also on a waiting process from the government to get better houses. But the process, it goes with a database list where you have to wait till your turn comes to get a house, and it depends how long it might take for you to wait to get a better house.
How long it will take?
Some they've been for 15 years, some have been for 17 years, some 18 years till 20 years.
What?
Some they just wait for 2 years, 3 years. It
Based on
depends
what
on luck.
What is the
based on criteria?
criteria?
About it.
Yeah, how?
No, the thing is, what happens? There are those who do give bribery.
Oh.
Favor.
You know, there's also corruption.
Yeah, corruptions and all.
Officials. Also, on the other side, some they get lucky because they choose which land they're gonna start to use to build houses, and then if they find you with an informal house in that land and they want to remove your houses there, and then you guys gonna be lucky to get earlier than the others the better houses
If
to
they
live in.
happen to want to
Relocate.
Yeah, they want to rebuild. Yeah, right. But the last time when they spoke, they said they want to start with the old age people to get better houses before the young people.
What
But
age?
still doesn't happen like that. Yeah, you turn to your the right again, yeah, because you should
Run
know.
for 1 unit.
Beer. Anthony, why is it so quiet?
Still the morning, and a lot of people are still in work, and yeah, unfortunately the schools are still closed. It's holidays for schools, but the kids, I don't know, they're still at home.
You think some people
Still
are
the
going back to
morning.
Transkei?
Some kids are in Transkei, but I think the elders, the adults are still around here for working reasons. And then December, it's gonna be more worse quiet, trust me. So guys, on the left side, this is the central business district of the township. It's where we do the shopping. It's where also in front of you, you can see there are a lot of minibuses. It's where we take a public transport to go to the places like in the city or places that are far from the township. It's where you get a cheaper a public transport where it can cost like, I think it's 13 rands, 13 rand to 14 rands to go to the city. Yeah, you take left because we're traveling around just the part. So he
Thì là kiếm thấy đồ. After this.
Very interesting. This is at Langa. At Langa, but not at the market.
Seems like we're a little bit stuck because of space. A lot of cars has occupied the space. Okay, seems like no, you just turn to your left side. Let me take, yeah, you just take the left side. Yeah, I think these guys, they deal with waste management, which is they deal with trees. Yeah. Okay, back again on the road. So hence I said the left side, it's a central part of the township where we do the shopping. Also on the right hand side, these are the houses that we call them as a middle class houses that were built from 1938 in order to accommodate families where they used to pay rent through the previous government, the government of apartheid, where they used to pay rent from, up until in 1995 when President Nelson Mandela became the president of the country. And then the government at that time started to decide to give people the ownership of the houses, which is the title deed, so that they no longer are renting the houses as they belong in government. So they started to own the houses. So now you can do anything with your house. You can extend it. You can use your yard as much as you want to do anything because it's all yours. It's not owned by the government anymore. So that's how the middle class houses were made of. And then in a lower class house, you don't need to pay anything, no rent, no water. You just live freely because it's just a temporary time for themselves to live in those houses up until they get a better houses from the government where they will have to pay for water and sanitation, I would say. And also on the left side, this is one of our 9 schools. We have about 9 schools within the township itself, and the population number, it's in between 80 to 90,000 people. But the township was meant, the first establishment of 1927, it was meant to accommodate number of 5,000. But it's way beyond that. Because there's a lot of people are coming from the villages, rural areas, to such places like Cape Town in the city to find more job opportunities, school, education system here
High school.
was not the same as in the rural areas or in the villages. So they thought it was the better one if you can find your child better education in the city. Jobs including were much more available at that time. Up until now we struggle of jobs. So that's how it became a lot of people coming from villages to live here in the cities like Cape Town. Also we do have African brothers and sisters who are coming from other African countries who now decides to live here as well. So we live with them within these townships as well. I'm from here. Thank you. Born in this township. Yes, sir. So also on the left side, the building that you see here, where this is it's a clinic. It's a community clinic where you don't need to pay anything for medicine or to see a doctor. You just come and see the doctor freely. You do not need any booking.
Oh.
So you just come, you just book in the morning that you're coming, because you have to come in the morning because there will be a lot of people waiting on the queue to see the same doctors. So, which is when it's for free, you must be aware that there will be a lot of people coming to see the doctor. Well guys, it was just a drive-through. Now I think we're gonna begin to visit the cultural center where they will show you the activities. So I will hand it over again to Mark. Mark, you now.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. You have to. Okay, over to Mike. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Very, very interesting and very well delivered. But for you guys, if you don't mind, just remain seated for a moment. We just want to check the arrangements before we get you to do the wrong thing.